What's up, my Detroit players? It's your boy Juan, aka Real, aka Culture Boy Juan. I just came back to the crib from the Pistons game, man. I just left LCA, watched the Pistons take on the Jazz. I thought that this was going to be the game that we was going to be able to crack the losing streak, but unfortunately, it did not happen. But it's a lot of things I had to get off my chest, man. I'm on my way home from the game, and I'm just going, just pissed off talking to my girl, and I'm like, man, I got to get on the tube. It's been a minute. And I ain't gonna lie, man, it was just hard to create content during this losing streak, bro. That's like one of the hardest things to do is to constantly create content for your home team when they losing. It don't give you much to talk about because all they doing is losing. You don't want to keep talking about the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. But I felt like because this was a game that I thought we could have had, I had to come home and talk about it. So let's do a quick recap on the game. Pretty close game. Um, the game was between like 2 and 6, 7 points the whole time. Utah's lead. We trailed them the entire game. Sometime the lead ballooned to I think no more than like 12 or 13. And then there was times where we was able to get it. We chiseled it down to 2 a few times. I think we even tied it up once or twice. But we basically was just playing keep up the whole entire game. And just a quick recap on the game. I think K had like 28, 7 and 9. Looks good. It looks good in the stat sheet, but everybody know the numbers don't mean everything. Ivy had a pretty decent game. He was pretty aggressive. He had like 20 some points. Um, Bags had a pretty decent game. His legs was live early. A lot of finishes around the rim early. I kind of feel like coach kind of took him out the game a little bit too because Wiseman kind of played way too many minutes. The entire bench as a whole was terrible. I will have to look up their plus minus to see what it was, but it had to be terrible. I can't think of one person off the bench that produced. Um, Burks continues to struggle. Bogey kind of struggled in this game too, even though the offense kind of went away from him in the first half. And then it was times where he tried to force it, tried to get himself in the game. And there was a couple different times in the game where I said to myself, if we can activate Bogey, we can get this dub. But he never activated. I think he finished with 8 points. Livers was terrible again. I don't think he scratched the score sheet. Asar was active. He played pretty decent. Some rebounding, couple defensive stops. He played decent. Other than that, nobody else was worth mentioning. Um, Wiseman had a couple bright spots, but other than that, nobody else left was to mention. The crazy part about this whole thing is not only did Utah play us on a back-to-back, but then they also set THT. They set the shiny new toy, that rookie Keontae George. He didn't play, and as well as Laurie. Laurie didn't play either, and I think a couple other players didn't play. And which is crazy because usually when teams have back to backs, they'll like to pick and choose the 2 games that they're willing to lose and the one that they have to have. The one that they have to have, they usually play their starters. The one that they feel like if we lose, okay, but we can probably beat this team with our bench, is usually the second team or the first team, depending on how they play it. And I would assume, I haven't looked it up, but I would assume the Keontae and THT and Laurie and them played last night because they didn't play tonight. And I'm curious to see if they got the dub last night too. But anyway, long story short, they came in on the second game of a back-to-back. They rested all their good players. And they still managed. The coach even got teed up. And they still managed to lead the way the entire game. Now, a couple takeaways from our team before I get into um, a lot of the fans and a lot of stuff that the fans been talking, because I really want to address it. I'm really not with that. So make sure y'all stick around in this video to hear my take on where the fans are currently with this whole, sell the team or fire Troy or get rid of Monty. It's a lot of different chatter. We just all over the place as a Detroit fan base, which is unfortunate. But the thing that I really want to talk about, well, before I do that, I want to talk about the team. I feel like we don't play hard enough. I feel like for as young as our roster to be, like we don't act like it. You know what I'm saying? In a sense where the legs are lively, the energy level is of abundance. Um, just showing the growing pains, the win, the losses, the way we lose. Like, I don't see a lot of the growing pains that you used to seeing out of young teams. And I think the real solution is really on the court. I think there are a couple problems. I think one main issue is I don't believe that it was the right move for Monty to come in and force his way on to this roster. I think he would have been better suited taking the 5 best guys that gel and play the best together and kind of figure out and mold our next move based on that, opposed to saying this is the Monty way, and within the Monty way, the best fit for the Monty way is these 5 guys. I think that kind of, in particular, this whole Jaden Ivey off the bench issue, trying to make him learn the hard way issue, I think that was a bad move. Mostly because not only did Ivey have a great season last year, and he should have been coming to this season riding that high, but on top of that, he was able to build on last season by being able to play with Cade this summer. If you watch the Rico Hines and the different scrimmages and the different places that they went to try to build some chemistry and camaraderie, it was always the core 5 of Ivy, Cade, Asar, Stu, and Duran. Now, obviously, Duran been in and out of the lineup with injuries, but that's irrelevant because we're talking about the beginning of the season. I mean, I know he missed games in the beginning of the season too, but that 5 that played together and was starting to learn each other without coach, starting to get reps outside of the team facility, just playing together and getting to know each other and just hanging together. Because you got to think, man, if we on the court together and we in a whole nother state, we probably staying in the same hotels. We probably riding in the same cars or sprinters, or somebody rented a truck for the week or whatever the case. Probably got an Airbnb. They all stayed together, like they ate together. They probably stayed up late together. They probably talked about the season. They probably tried to manifest, the things that they wanted to see happen together. And all that shit went to shit when Monty came in. He just said, fuck what y'all talking about. Y'all gonna play how I want y'all to play, regardless of what y'all got going on. I think that was a bad move. I think just doing that, I think it kind of shook up the sprite, so to speak. And you got to think too, bro, like from a player's perspective. Like, if these are my 4 guys, these my roadies, and we've been hitting the road and we've been scrimmaging together and we've been getting, court time together, on ball reps together, and live game action, whether that's Rico Hines or that's a scrimmage, wherever the case may be. Like, when you come in like that, you kind of ruin the chemistry because let's just say K, for instance. Like, if I'd have spent all summer learning Ivy's tendencies and learning Asar's tendencies and Stu and Duran tendencies and know where they like to rock and they know where I like to rock. They know which way, they know how to set the screen at which angle for me to get downhill. They know when I'm cooking that you need to set a solid screen straight up so that I can possibly pop out, step back, and knock down a jumper. Like, I think when Monty came in and he mixed the whole thing up, I think it kind of ruined the chemistry a little bit. And that's something that you can't take back because now you've created a hurdle that Ivy has to get over mentally. Now you've created a learning curve for the rest of the guys when you take him out of the starting lineup and you insert a Burks, which we not going to get into Burks. I do not know what happened to Burks. In the beginning of the season, Burke was on fire. He was going crazy. He got injured. He came back. He ain't been the same since. If this is his way of trying to audition himself to get on the championship team, you are doing a terrible job of doing that, sir. And you need to get it together. But back to what I was saying, like, I felt like that ruined the chemistry. I feel like they had good chemistry this summer. I feel like they looked good. They was running teams off the court. I know Rico Hines is just Rico Hines. That's just one gym. I know that's just one, summer, 1 week during that summer, whatever the case may be. But the point of the matter is they look good. And they was playing against other NBA talent. They looked good. They looked good together. But it's like, put Ivy on the bench. We're going to pop Burks in. And I don't know if they was trying to showcase Burks to get a deal. But obviously the deal never manifests, so it ended up being a bad move. You played your cards wrong, Monty. So, but I don't like to try to get on Monty too much because he's still new here, and it's hard to blame Monty for something that's going on when it was going on before he got here. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to blame Monty, and I'm not on that bandwagon of blaming Monty. And more importantly, I'm not on that bandwagon of this whole sell the team. When we was at the game earlier, you had some guys with some brown signs in the corner, and they got the chant going, sell the team, sell the team, sell the team. Now, I get fans' frustration. I get it, 1,000%. I get it. But I don't think selling the team is the issue, especially when it's hard for me to blame Tom Gores for anything for the simple fact that there's no major things that stuck out to me as bad moves or bad decisions or bad plays from ownership. If you go all the way back, let's just go back. Let's go back to when we made the decision where K was considered the consensus number one. Well, he made the pick. Everybody wanted K. He made the pick. He gave y'all what y'all wanted. Everybody wanted Ivy. Some people wanted Keegan Murray. In particular, I love Keegan Murray. And I love Jaden Ivey, but I felt like Ivy would help in the rebuilding process more in terms of selling seats because he's so talented and he's so athletic and he's the second coming of John Morant. I never went that far. I didn't think they was the same player. I thought they had similar tendencies. I thought they had similar skill sets, but I never saw them as one and the same. But at the same time, I love Keegan Murray, but I felt like Keegan Murray, and maybe I was being selfish for a guy that I like, I felt like he was better suited on a team that was willing to win now. Because he, in so many ways, he reminded me of Tim Duncan. And not just because they both light-skinned. It's more so like the mild-manneredness, the seriousness, the work in which that they put into their game, the lane in which they know they own and they stay in. They don't try to get too far out of what they do best. And then fundamentally, they both are real fundamentally sound. And I thought Keegan Murray could really help us. And I would have thought that Keegan would have moved Stu to the bench, which is another thing that I believe needs to happen. Stu should have been on the bench. But my point is at the end of the day, I still wanted Ivy because he was more exciting. I thought he could take the ball out of K's hands, which is a major issue for me. I don't like the ball in K's hands 100% of the time. I think he needs someone that he can play off of sometimes so the defenses don't focus on him. And I feel like he slows the offense down too. Like I feel like with K at the helm, it's really a slow, methodical offense. But like I said earlier, when you got a young team like that, y'all supposed to be zipping up and down the court. And if y'all going to be zipping up and down the court, K can't be your primary ball handler because that's just not his game. He plays with pace. And that's not a knock on K. That's just saying if you want to play fast, just let him play off ball. You know, whether he trailing and knocking down the shot or he running the wing, like he's a really decent off ball player. But I think on ball he's decent too. I just think he had too many lapses with the turnovers. I think he don't come through in clutch situations when we really need him. But let's go back to what I was just saying. You need more off-ball players to play with Cade, especially if we're going to play fast. So my thing is I thought that it was a good pick to get Ivy to put him next to Cade. I even sided with people when they went with a star, but backing up from the star pick, everybody wanted Monty Williams. The story came out earlier that we was pursuing Monty Williams, and then it came out later that we weren't going to be able to get him. Everybody was pissed off. Everybody was mad. We need Monty. So then when we had a second shot at him, we take another run at Monty. We possibly overpaid him, but I don't believe in saying overpaid because I feel like if he get his money, give him his money. I'm not going to say nobody's ever overpaid unless you work for me. But anyway, I'm just playing. But anyway, I felt like he did the right decision. He made the right decision. Even going back to the Troy Weaver, grabbing Troy Weaver, like everybody said, we need a GM that's like OKC. They done had James Harden and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, Reggie Jackson, Jeff Green. Like, player after player after player after player after player after player after player. Like, they know how to not only scout talent, but they also know how to develop talent. So us going after their assistant GM from the last 4 years, to me, I feel like we was given ownership gave the stop. Ownership, culture boy, stop. Pause the video. I feel like ownership, stop. I feel like ownership gave us what we was looking for. They gave us the GM that we wanted. They gave us the coach that we wanted. They drafted the players that we wanted. And I know that's for an office and not ownership, but at the same time, they did everything you want. That's why it's tough for me to blame Tom Gores, and it's also tough for me to blame Troy Weaver. I think the real issue is that it's just too early. You know what I'm saying? Give this thing a little time to build. Give these players time to learn Monty's system. Like, we got to give it a little time, man, because when I watch the game, outside of not playing like ragged dogs, like, other than that, it's hard to pinpoint what we need. You know what I'm saying? And then you can't say stuff like, well, our players are not good enough. Well, how are players not good enough when we got a team full of first-round picks? Consensus players that everybody wanted, players that didn't have knocks on them, players that didn't come in with injury concerns, that didn't come in with, character issues or red flags. Like, we got the right players. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to say that. It's really hard, especially when we just lost to a starting lineup that consisted of Colin Sexton, OG Abaji, Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk had 27, 28 points tonight. You know what I'm saying? Camacho or whatever the kid name is. And I can't even think who the fifth starter was, but my point is, only first round pick was Colin Sexton, and most people would call him a bust. Like, he on his second or third team, second team, and he was starting tonight. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even play Laurie. They didn't even play Keontae George, who been lighting the league up. They didn't even play THT, and we know what THT do. So it's hard to be like, well, it's the talent. Well, how is it a talent when they just rolled out 5 bums and they smacked us? Kelly Olynyk is like a 12, 13-year vet. There's no reason why he should be leading the team and scoring to a victory on the road on the second night of a back-to-back. Like, come on now, what I'm missing? It's not the talent. Now, some can argue it's the coaching, but he just got here. He's still trying to install his system. So it's hard for me to blame Coach Monty. I just think we just need to play harder. I think the fan base need to be patient. I get your frustration, 1,000%. I get your frustration. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ass-kissing the organization. That's not what I'm doing. What I am doing is I'm trying to be realistic and understanding that this is a rebuild. I didn't even realize Killian didn't play tonight. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the big fella is out during. But I just think we in a rebuild and we run into unfortunate situations such as losing K all last season, such as losing Bogey for the first handful of games this season, such as Duran being in and out of the lineup, and such as not having adequate backups too on the front line. Our big fellas is trash, and Bagley had a decent game. I think Bagley is just good in a backup role. I don't think Bagley is a starter, even though he produced well tonight. I think if we can get that efficiency off the bench, I think we'd be a much better suited team for sure. Wiseman need to go. Whatever value we still got out of Wiseman, we need to move him. Burks is not helping us. He's not the veteran to bring your young guys along. That's not him. He's not talkative. He's not really like demonstrative on the floor. You don't see big like leadership qualities out of Burks. He's just a scorer. Quite simple. He's just a scorer. Like, anything outside of that, like, don't expect much outside of that. But I do think it's time for him to hit the road. I do think it's time for us to find a suitor for Wiseman. I do think it's time for Livers to go back to the bench. Okay? Monty Morris, we do need him back, but I'm not about to put enough that pressure on Monty Morris to be like, if Monty Morris come back, he's gonna be our savior. Like, no, he's a game manager. He's gonna knock down the open shot. He's gonna make the right play, but I don't think he's not gonna move the needle on a young team. Maybe on a playoff team where he can give you some of the stuff he gave Denver, when he was at his peak. But outside of that, like, he's not going to help us win. What's going to help us win is on-court reps, allowing Monty to install his system, not making knee-jerk reactions and firing people or trading the wrong people or packaging people together and trading the wrong person because you're trying to get rid of somebody else. Like, no. Like, take what you can get for Wiseman, take what you can get for Alec Burke, and take what you can get for, I hate to say it, but Bogey. Because at this point, this shit is unfair to Bogey. Like, Bogey needs to be on a contender, playing better. I think a lot of these veterans on our team, they're not giving us full effort because it's not a lot for them to play for. And I would say I understand that. I think I understand that from a human level. I just don't agree with it because at the end of the day, if you're going to be on the court, you got to be your best, for one. And then for two, if you want a better job, you need to be showing other suitors like, I'm that guy, come get me. You know what I'm saying? The only way to do that is to ball out. Even if that's in a losing effort, if you play well and you play winning basketball, like, these teams are going to come get you. And that's going to help raise the price for us. You know what I'm saying? But as long as we got all our trade capital playing like trash, we ain't going to have nothing to show for it when we get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? But at this point, it might be just best to just put a roster full of young dogs and let them figure out, because these veterans, they don't want to play with us. And I don't blame them. You feel me? So, all this fire the team, all this bags over your face, like, cut it out, man. Like, just cut it out. Be patient. Be patient. Stay loyal. You know what I'm saying? I get being upset. I get voicing your opinion, but the stuff y'all doing is not making the situation no better. You feel me? At one point when they started chanting, sell the team, because I sat directly across from the Pistons bench. I was in 112, row 7. So I'm pretty much on the floor, and I'm directly across the Pistons bench. And I noticed certain players, when they caught wind of it, when their ears caught the sell the team chant, like, it kind of threw him off a little bit. And that's tough, man, especially like Asar in particular. Like, he was just sitting there minding his business watching the game, and you could see his ear must have percolated because he hit you with one of them. You know what I'm saying? Then he kind of listened for a second, and then he kind of put his head down a little bit. Then he turned back to the court. Like, that's tough, man. Why y'all putting these young fellas through that? That's tough, man. Like, let these boys grow, man. Give them an opportunity to get to where they need to get to, man. It's not easy being an NBA player. And it's definitely not easy to win in the NBA. And I don't think a lot of fans understand that, but they need to start understanding that, or stay y'all asses at home. You know what I'm saying? Stay y'all asses at home, man. Because I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm giving this team my all in the stands. You feel me? I need all free throws. I need all loose balls. I need pause. I need all 50-50s. We're rebounding, like, we not gang rebounding. Like, why we not playing full court either? Like, especially when Killian out there, like, why not play full court? Like, we got 12, 13, 14 guys. Like, just rotate them. Let's just play faster. Let's play harder. Let's play full court. Let's disrupt some offenses. Let's throw some zones in there at opportunistic times. Like, let's jump in these passing lanes more. Let's be active with our hands defensively. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, let's crash these offensive boards. Why are we getting all rebounded every night? I don't understand that. That's effort. We getting rebounded every night. That's effort. You know what I'm saying? Let's gang rebound. And let's take the ball to the rack. Like, we don't do a lot of taking the ball to the rack. We act like we sharp shooter names. We act like we shooter. We ain't shooter. We ain't got shooters. Attack the rack. Let's bully ball. You know what I'm saying? Attack the rack. Like, we need more aggression on offense and more aggression on defense. Like, let's own the paint. Let's play football. Let's own the trenches on both sides. You feel me? Let teams should be walking out of LCA exhausted, win or lose. If you played the Pistons You should be walking out of that arena tired. Not tired, tired. Y'all should be walking out the arena tired. Because you know, them boys gave a lot of effort. They dove on the ground. They went after every 50-50. They went after every rebound. They scrapped, they scratched, they clawed, they bit some kneecaps. And I've seen a lot of people saying we need to take on the Dan Campbell approach. And we do. The lady behind me kept saying, she said, and I quote, what's up with the coach? I've never seen such a mild-mannered coach. He's so calm. And when I was talking to my old lady about it on the way home in the car, I said the same thing. Like, I brought that up, and she was like, yeah, he don't scream, he don't yell, he don't stomp. You don't see him clapping his hands, stomping his feet, slamming down his little clipboard. You don't see none of that. He act like and I know we in the evaluation process, but he act like an investigator or something. Like, he just sit back and just take notes. Like, come on, man, you still got to coach, fam bam. You still got to coach. You still got to bark. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I miss about Stan Van Gundy is he stayed on his players. He barked the whole time. But that was, to me, that was passion. That was energy. That was me trying to will my team to a W because we don't got it tonight. You know what I'm saying? But this video getting long. I want to wrap this up, man. Arena was straight. It was energy in the arena down to like the last 7 minutes when the lead went from like 4 to like 7 and 9. Like, other than that, the arena was jumping. It was buzzing. Shout out to our player rep, Brad Hall. We season ticket owners, and then of course we got the suite through my business through Bally Sports. But we wasn't in the suite tonight, and we wasn't even gonna go to the game at all. But like a month ago, we had signed up for the Christmas party, knowing we didn't have tickets for this game because we wasn't gonna put the Jazz on our schedule. But we had signed up for the Christmas party, and then a couple days ago, my rep Brad Hall, shout out Brad Hall, he hit us up and was like, "I see y'all RSVP for the Christmas event, but I also see y'all don't got tickets, so I'm gonna send y'all some tickets." And he ended up sending some tickets, 2 tickets, and me and my lady was gonna go, and then we realized that we was gonna have a baby tonight, so I called him back like I'm gonna need a 3rd ticket. He ended up moving us 1 row back simply because there was 3 seats in that row. So shout out to Brad for accommodating us. The Christmas party was lit. The chicken tenders in there was fire. Not gonna lie, chicken tenders was fire. So shout out to them. And that's another reason why I be saying, like, when y'all say fire ownership, like the product, the Pistons basketball product, the outside of what happened on the court is actually a pretty good product. From my man Aaron over at Entertainment to Kev hosting to DJ Chachi and High Def Steph DJing to Mason to Brad Hall and the rest of the sales reps to Bally Sports, our family over at Bally Sports. It's always blessing us, like the marketing, the entertainment that Aaron and them was bringing in, the local talent, the halftime shows, the different coordinated events, all the different events that we get invited to. Like, outside of basketball, the product of the Pistons is actually really lit. So it's even marketing. So it's hard to say fire ownership. That's crazy because I thought it was the GM's job to put the players together on the court. That's not his job. He gave you a brand new arena. Come on now. He mixing the jerseys up. He brought in a GM you wanted. He brought the coach in you wanted. He drafted all the players you wanted. The arena be lit. It's be fun. The hot and readies is better in there than they is in the hood. Like, the product outside of basketball is lit. So we got to get off that. But I just want to say that because I want to shout out the whole staff, man. Everybody that I previously mentioned as far as the Pistons organization. Shout out to y'all, man. I love y'all. I appreciate everything y'all do for me and my family, as well as what y'all do for my business that advertises through you guys. You know, we partners. I'm officially a corporate partner of the Pistons and Bally Sports. So shout out to them. And disclaimer, that don't mean I was nice on them because I know everybody. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just keeping it real. But next game will be the day after Christmas against Brooklyn. Hopefully we can get that one if we don't get the first one on the road. Shout out everybody. Shout out Dynasty Sports Network. Shout out King and Deuce. They got their new show together. They just went live the other day. It was dope. Fire podcast. Shout out the Vulture podcast. Shout out Culture Detroit, who is sponsoring this video, and Culture Sports Club. Shout out everybody. Shout out Detroit fan base, man. And one last message for y'all, man. Just be patient, man. I know it's a hot take to get on the internet and just say whatever. I know you think it's cool to put a bag over your face and come to the game. Yeah, I get it. It's cool. You're trying to go viral. You're trying to get pictures for your gallery or your photo gallery in your phone, whatever. I get it. Just be patient, man. We still a young team. Shout out to Ben Wallace, who was in the stands. Shout out to Cannon, who was K's big brother Cannon that was out there. Shout out to everybody that we bumped into, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Next video, y'all stay tuned for that. I'm back. We've been losing, so I ain't been want to do it, but I'm back, man. Real Meal, I love you. JJ, we miss you. We love you. Culture Gang, Vulture Gang. It's your boy Real TV. It's been real, and I'm out.